We were talking a little bit off camera, the amount of time that from the time they decided or had their calling till they became a priest. You were 15 when you went in, and you became a priest when, ordained when?
That is in 66.
But you were 30 years old?
30 years.
30 years old at the time. And Father, you said much less.
Yes, I went in at 22, and I already had a degree, and then I was ordained in, believe it or not, in 53, which I left in 48, so that was only 5 years later. I was ordained.
Okay, now you were mentioning your pet or your mission is family life.
Yeah.
And yet you're running an orphanage, which is part of family life. How do you?
Well, taking the children as young as I can, meaning sometimes they're babies, 1 year old, 3 years old. I try to teach them how the Lord wants us to live out family life and avoid all these other problems that we have in society. Because if you think about it, it's the way we are brought up that determines the way we live later on, especially our moral principles. So when we talk about bad government, usually you can trace it back to bad family life. When you have a poor school system, usually you trace it back to family life. Everything has its roots in family life. Right? And because I studied psychology, sociology, and so on, it's also important to know that the time of pregnancy is very crucial. Right? If a mother has a very unhappy pregnancy, meaning that she's always fighting with her guy, well, the chances are the baby will be better prepared for the boxing ring than for a peaceful life. That's how crucial that the prenatal time is. And then the early years are very, very crucial, so that when a child is brought up without a married father and mother, and when the child is not taught the moral principles that a good couple would give their children, then that child is probably going to be a problem to society. Even though that child could be a millionaire later on, still the child will be selfish. It won't understand what it means to be self-sacrificing. The symbol of our faith is the cross, Jesus on the cross. The whole idea of penance and self-sacrifice, self-denial is usually lost. And selfishness becomes so much part of the human being that no matter what profession that person goes into, they are selfish persons and they harm society instead of building up society. So this is you might say, the core of the message that the children receive back where I am in St. Anthony's Children's Home. That doesn't mean I'm going to be successful, because all the outside is against them. They go to school and they hear the opposite. They have friends outside, they hear the opposite. And then they look at TV and they see the opposite. They listen to the radio, they hear the opposite. So it's very hard to work that way.
And the opposite's more fun.
Of course.
Right.
As they say, sin is enjoyable.
Yes.
And penance is not enjoyable. So that's the same trouble our Lord had, but he didn't make out too well either. He ended up on the cross.
Yes.
So the whole idea of the Christian life then is kind of far into our modern generation. And our work then, we're constantly fighting the principles that belong to Satan and evil, see? So we'll always have failures. And that's the hardest part of our work. That's why we have to spend so much time in prayer. And
Right. How does what he's saying relate to you figure your job is in Uganda?
Quite.
You're talking same language there, huh?
Right, yes.
But he has his few people at the orphanage from 1 year old. You don't get them until they get much older.
Yes, I have many children who have no education, who have not had a chance of getting education. First of all, those who are in primary schools have not been instructed in religion. So we work in a team of about 15 trained catechists whom we would like to help, for example, coming from this area to go to schools in there, but we lack means of transport. We think if we get small motorcycles, very small motorcycles, could help those catechists spread the word of God through the schools, through the program for religious education. And then with this program of aids, we will use also teams. We'd like to have people who are trained for that to go and talk to people in their localities, but we lack means of transport also. If we have a car, for example, that would help people to go and reach different groups and talk to them about.
Do you find that the people that you have reached, those 35,000, do you think that they are more moral than the ones you haven't reached?
Yes.
You've noticed a big difference?
The problems are more in the areas that are more distant from us than these ones near us.
Are they still having as big of families as they had, say, like, are there a lot of families with over 10 children?
Not now.
Not now, huh?
The movies now getting fewer children.
But that's not because of morals, right?
No, that's because of birth
Finances.
control, huh?
No,
Yeah.
finances.
Finances, oh, okay.
Yes,
Right in Jamaica, a woman might have had 5, 6, 7, 8 children in the past. The first one presents a financial problem.
Yeah.
It's very hard to live in Jamaica.
But your father didn't have it easy either with 19 children, your father and mother. That had to be pretty...
That was tough.
I mean, I don't know where you could get a job and raise 19 children.
Family, yes. When from the land, he was able to.
Are most of your brothers and sisters, the other 18, still living?
Yes, except one.
Except one. But even with all of the hard, you've had that can be a hard life in Uganda, and yet they're still living.
Yes, we are all still living except one. Yes, one died.
They're all in pretty good health too?
Most of them, yes.
Your mother and father are still living?
They're dead.
They're dead.
The father is dead, the mother is dead. Yes, and the father is dead in 87, died in 87.
You realize that people watching have no idea of the life in Uganda and in Jamaica either, although we hear a lot about Jamaica, but we always see them dancing and the other things you have for vacation, but we don't understand, you know. And how many do you have in your orphanage, Father?
I'm not allowed to have more than 50.
50.
So it's usually at 50.
Right, at 50. And you have no trouble finding someone to replace somebody who leaves. There's a lot of never, no problem.
No problem.
Yeah.
My problem is to have one of the house mothers accept another one. You know,
How many employees do you have, like house mothers and others? How many?
I have 15.
15 people working.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a full-time job, isn't it?
Full time. Yeah. See, we try to support ourselves. We have some businesses. We sell fish and lobster. We buy the fish and lobster at the beach, and we sell fish and lobster. The children do all the gutting and the scaling. We have a green onion business where the children strip the dry parts from the green onions and they cut them up with a knife. And then we sell 400 pounds a week to a beef patty company. And that helps us also. And then we make our own syrup and we sell it in the supermarkets. And all of that is to help the children to have ambition and to have what it means to be able to help to support themselves. All of these things help, you know, while you might say the whole of the society is kind of negative in bringing them up. We give them all these positive efforts. Still, it's not easy, you know. As we said before, it's kind of easier to follow the evil way than it is the good way.
Yes. Now, in Uganda, does the Catholic Church have any orphanages? The church itself?
Yes,
you do have? In your area?
Not in our area, but in the archdiocese as such, we have 2 of them.
Are there more than one diocese in Uganda? Yes.
We have 16 dioceses.
16?
Catholic, yes, 16 Catholic.
And how many in Jamaica, did you say?
Diocese, 2, and then the vicariate.
Vicariate? I'm not familiar.
Well, it's not a full diocese. It has a bishop, but like he has no more than 5 or 6 priests.
Okay. We're talking the similarities and the differences between these 2 gentlemen and where their life work is and where they're very dedicated. And then we're going to come back and just talk a little bit about this trip. Obviously, they like to come here to Champlain, New York, reading the bombardment, the mission center here, and they're out there now. There's 3 or 4 people out there sorting and packing clothes that they send, and they send new clothes also. No, they don't. You're looking for money. You want money and prayers and prayers.
Oh, he may get a shipment too.
He may get-
He's working on that.
He's working on that. The problem, of course, is getting it to Uganda. It costs a lot of money to get the shipment to Uganda. We'll be right back. We ramble on because anything that either one says is very interesting to me, and I hope to you out there. Your primary reason for being in Champlain this morning. Let's start with you, Father. Your primary reason to be in Champlain was
Is to visit friends, make new friends, and those friends have helped me in the past, and I hope they will help me in the future to build up this new parish
Okay.
where we need so
Now-
many.
where does your money come from to run your parish? Generally, is the money people can't afford to give too much, can they?
They don't. They don't. So mostly we have relied on help received from here.
Do you get help from the Catholic Church in the United States? The church as the larger body for the church, any of the drives they have here, to raise money. Does the Catholic Church give you any money from the United States?
Except through these visits.
But not directly say we're going to give so much to Uganda. They don't do that. Okay. So when we give to the mission, they aren't giving to Uganda Catholic priests,
They
Well,
do.
Peter's Pence, I think.
huh?
Doesn't Peter's Pence go to Rome and then
And
Rome?
that's
In Rome, dispenses. Okay.
That's right.
And all right. And your primary reason is to visit friends also. But something is sent from here to your parish.
Oh,
correct?
regularly.
Yes. And what do you get from the mission center? Clothes.
Everything. Even knives and forks, Calvin.
Yes.
He was suggesting that maybe we lift them out of the drawers.
And now he's going to tell you that he does get knives and forks.
And we get, things like irons, bicycles, you name it.
Uh-huh.
We get everything.
Now, because-
Even furniture.
Because you're taking care of people there at that orphanage, do you get anything from the government at all?
No, because my home is a unique home. Right? Remember, I spent 7.5 years in Dannemora, in the prison. And while I was there, the prisoners told me how they disliked priests, sisters, brothers in the orphanages where they had spent their early youth. See? And I found out that the main reason was that some of the priests, brothers, nuns tried to be fathers and mothers to these young boys. And as soon as they got close to the children, their superiors moved them out. See? Actually, I say it was a false kind of Christianity where they didn't want you to get attached to the children. See? And I say that's not the way it should be. We're supposed to be attached to the children. If we love God, we have to love the children totally, So I said, when I opened up this children's home back in '74, that I would be their father to start with, and then I would look for other people to father and mother them, see? So that they would always feel that St. Anthony's home was their home. And the children that graduate and they leave, they come back as if it was their home. They stay overnight and so on. If they have children, they come with their children.
You're visiting their
That's
home.
the whole idea, that they would have what every child needs: a loving parents and the security that comes from that kind of a home, say, where they receive real love.
Uh-huh.
And my children show this security in their behavior after they're graduated.
Uh-huh.
People remark and say, what a nice person that is.
Father Macass, what is a typical day for you in Uganda as a priest? What is a typical day? You get up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock?
Usually we get up at 6:30
Yes.
in the morning, say our private prayers, and then start mass at 7 o'clock up to 7:30.
How many people would you get at that mass?
About 25
Okay,
every morning.
Okay.
Average, yes. And then start office work at 8:30.
what is office? What do you do as office work? What are you
I
doing?
expect people to come, for example, for preparing their children for baptism, to look for tickets for their baptism, to ask for help here and there, whether they need mass in their locality, or they need a catechist to go and prepare a group of adults who are preparing for baptism, such as the ordinary types of activities.
Okay. Now, are there any cars in your area? Many cars? Your parishioners don't own cars. How do they get to you?
Some will walk,
Yes?
others have bicycles, then they will use bicycles. Bicycle is the most common means of transport. And that's why we are trying to get catechists to get bicycles
Right.
to move around their outstations. And then for a group of catechists who teach religion, we need small motorcycles so that two people can go to a distant outstation.
Do people come to you and say, we have no food, could you help us?
Not
They don't do that.
They don't.
Do they ask for money?
Money they would.
They do ask for
Some
money?
family may not have any money to
Uh-huh.
help to educate a child. They would come to a priest to ask, but
Do you have any money for
No, I
them?
don't.
You don't have any money for them. I know locally in Champlain, a lot of people stop at the parish and ask for money. You know, they're traveling, and they say the best place to stop and get a little bit of money for food is the local priest won't turn you down. And they do it on a general basis, you know. So how big is your church? You have a church?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We have only the former outstation chapel.
Okay.
We have not built a church yet.
Now, when you don't have enough money, how are you going to build a church? God will provide, I guess, but are there any churches in the whole diocese?
Yes, in the diocese we have a church.
I don't mean diocese, your parish.
No.
Not in the
We
parish.
have only small chapels.
Okay.
Yes. But we intend to build a church for the whole parish.
Well,
Yes,
let me ask you something that many of us have, Calvin and I. Do you ever get discouraged?
not really. I have
You don't get discouraged? No?
No.
I do.
You do. You do, huh? What makes you discouraged, for
I
instance?
think probably I'm like most parents. You know, you wish the children would be
Oh, yes.
humble enough to accept all the teachings you give them, and that they would live up to your expectations. And the children are always falling below that. See? So I would identify with most parents.
Okay.
that
I was
they're
going to say,
discouraged.
you don't have to be in Jamaica or Uganda for that. When you were growing up, I'm sure your parents had feelings that you weren't doing what they would like you to do all the time too. We all do that. No matter how good you were, we'd like to have you a little better. I think that's natural, you know.
Except that we live in a harder time. See, in other words, trying to teach Christianity in our day and age to our children is a lot harder today than it was before.
Well, you mentioned all the things, you know, the other people are living, the movies, the TVs, all those. Now, you don't have the TV problem at all. You don't have that as a problem.
In the parish, no, we don't.
No, you don't have that.
Him last night, I know of 2 families that have a TV and they are using a battery. They use a battery.
Where do they
have
pick up?
electricity.
Where do they pick up the picture from?
From Kampala, the headquarters,
Yeah.
from the headquarters, which
Okay.
is about 60 or 50 miles away.
Do you use video at all to the people to show them pictures when you have meetings? You have
Some people do that. For example, a diocesan team, if we invited a diocesan team, they could do that to our people.
Yes.
They could show pictures.
I would think that would be impressive when they haven't seen pictures and you see it for the first time. You're going to pay a lot of attention. Now, whether they do what you want them to afterwards, another thing. Huh?
Yeah. Well, I say television is a tremendous modern invention, and the videos and so on. And as church, we should use it to the maximum
Yes.
effect, right? But the other side, meaning Satan and all his crowd, is so efficient. They have all these rotten videos going around now. The first things that happened in Jamaica was they started up all these little shops with all of these terrible videos, violence and sex and evil, you know. And you can rent very cheaply from all these places. But good videos are hard to find. So when I come up on a trip like this, I beg from people, like the Disney videos and nice videos, so that I can have enough of them back there so the children don't get up at night to show the junk.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of vigilance, you know.
We're talking with two visitors in our area, Father Makasa from Uganda, which is about how many miles would you say? You don't have any idea. It's got to be 8 or 10.
Halfway around the world.
It must be 8,000 or more. And Father Waltz from Jamaica. Or as I say when I'm in Shazy, I want to say Haitians work for Donald Green, but they aren't. They're Jamaicans. I always say Haitians, but they're Jamaican, and they're here for a short time. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and conclude. Father Waltz has got to be in Denimora in less than an hour, and Father Makasa, I'm sure, has other things he wants to do, so please come back with us. It'll just be a minute. We'll be back. We have no planned program. We just try to wing it as we come here. So, Father Makasa, is there anything that you would like to say to the people out there, to me and everybody, that we didn't ask you that in closing?
Yes, thank you. I would like first of all to thank the people for the help they have given me and given us in the past, because with their help we were able to put up a new parish, as I said. And now I would like to appeal to everybody of goodwill that they continue helping us, especially to be able to run our pastoral programs, like the one I said about AIDS control program, whereby we need a vehicle to be able to go around to the people, to talk to the people, and then to carry out our Christian education program through schools, whereby trained catechists could get small motorcycles and they go to different schools to teach religion to our children. And then perhaps bicycles for our catechists who do a lot of work within their outstations, but they are hindered because of problems of transport, and that would do a tremendous help to us to be able to carry out our mission.
How would people out there do that? Where would they? How would they get the bicycle or the money to you? Is there an organized way to do that?
Through personal contributions to Rita.
To Rita. All right. If anyone is so moved,
Yes.
they want to help Father Makasa in Uganda, you could give a donation. You can't use bicycle because they can't get it to Uganda. It's going to have to be in the form of money, where the money can be used to buy bicycles and so forth, and or motorcycles.
Bike is about $80, and the motorcycle is about $900.
Okay.
Yes, and that would help us a lot.
Okay, and you can talk to Rita if you're interested, and I don't know of any fundraising other than donations. Father Waltz, in closing, what if you want to tell me?
Well, I've written a little booklet on family life, and I think it could be very helpful for people. I'm asking $3 for it, and one of those dollars will be for the home.
Okay, how could someone get that book from Rita?
Well, I'm going to give some to Rita.
Okay, so if you're interested in finding the book, The Father Waltz, $3, that's a pack of cigarettes just about, I guess. And get that book, and some of that money will be used for Father. And any other way that you raise money, Father? Donations, or remember all the country, come and help at the mission center. It's going to get to you eventually.
But the book is mainly to help people in family life to help them bring up their children
Okay.
and to understand the Christian viewpoint on how on the reasons why we say do it this way and do it that way
Okay.
and so on.
Now, for you people out there, say, what does a priest know about family life? He has no family. He doesn't know all that. He had a girlfriend. He had a girlfriend up until he was 20 years old. He was going to go into the medical profession. He's led the life here of most of us up until 20 or 22 years old. And he's learned a lot since, did a lot of studying. And
He brought up a couple hundred children.
And he's brought up a couple hundred children who listened and did everything he said.
Oh, I wish.
Listen, we'd like to at least say hello to Rita while we're here. We got 1 minute left. We'll be right back. Wait, let me put this over here. Just a minute, wait, no, you're not on yet. Wait till he tell you.
Oh, is that what
Okay, go ahead, Rita.
I thought it was just sitting there.
I just want to thank everybody for being so wonderful and helpful to us. And it's such a great joy to have the missionaries with us. I'd like to have everybody be able to enjoy them as we are enjoying them. And we just thank everybody that's been so wonderful to us. It's really been a joy to work with people, an inspiration too. And that's about it.
Okay, Rita LeBumber, sorry we didn't get her in before. I didn't know we